In this video, we're going to create a double jump with the ability to make it a triple. Also a nice object to reset the jump count in midair so we can cross big gaps. Let's begin. Hello and welcome, I'm your Code Monkey, and this channel is all about helping you learn how to make your own games with in-depth tutorials made by a professional indie game developer. So if you find the video helpful, consider subscribing. Okay, so this is what we want to create. We have our character in here moving left and right and with a simple jump. Now if I jump whilst in the middle of the air, I can do a nice double jump. And the code is extremely simple to use and we can easily upgrade it. So right now we have a double jump, but just by clicking this button you can see the jump counter in there. Click it and now we have two air jumps. So I can do a jump, double jump and a triple jump. Okay. For example, here on the left side we cannot reach that platform with a simple double jump. So we can go do a nice upgrade. Now we have a nice triple jump, and as you can see we have a nice Metroidvania design. Then here on this side we have a nice orb object. That object resets our air jump counter. So for example, we can use it to come across this gap. So I do a jump, double jump, hit the object, another jump, another double jump, and I can now cross this gap. So we're going to implement all of this, and depending on the game you're making, it's up to you to decide which parts to keep. If all you want is a simple double jump, then it's going to be very easy. Alright, let's get to it. Our starting point is this scene, which was created in the video on making a simple jump. If you haven't seen that video already, then go watch it before this one to see how the basic jump works. The link is in the description. Here I will just do a quick overview, and then we're going to take this and implement double jump. Here is the player code. If we scroll down to the update, as you can see in here we're doing a simple input test to see if the space key has been pressed. And when we press, we modify the rigid body velocity and move him up. This jump only works when we press space and the character is grounded. Then over here we have our movement code. This also provides us with full mid-air control, so whilst we're in the middle of the air we can also move left and right. So we are simply doing a test for the left and right arrow. Then we also have a bunch of calls to the player base class, which is what handles our animations. So the starting scene that I have here is the Unity package from the project files from that video that you can download from the website. Okay, now let's get to work on our double jump. So let's go here into our jump code. And in here, the first thing we need to change in order to have double jump is to not test for is grounded. What a double jump really means is that we can jump whilst in midair, but only a certain amount of times. So let's start off with a very simple boolean. Let's go up here. And we're going to make a private bool for the can double jump. And now on the update, in here, if we are grounded, then let's set the can double jump to true. And here first we test if we press on the spacebar, okay. Then we test if we are grounded, then we can jump. And if we are not grounded, we test if we can double jump. And if we do indeed double jump, then we set can double jump to false, so we can only double jump once. Okay, so we press space. If we are grounded, we do a normal jump. If we are not grounded, we test the boolean, we jump, and then we set it to false. So the next time we try, this will be false, and we fall down. And when we fall down into the ground, this one runs, and we set can double jump back into true. Let's see. So here we are, I press space, and I can do a normal jump, okay. Now press space twice, once, twice, and yep, there you go, I can do a double jump. Now try to do a triple jump. So we jump, and yep, it doesn't work until I fall down, and now I can do another double jump. Okay, great, so our basic double jump logic is indeed working. Now here, one issue we might have, depending on the game design, is that if I jump, double jump, and I hold space, when he falls down, he does not jump. So that means if the player presses jump exactly before he hits the ground, he won't jump, and that might cause some frustration. Depending on your game, this might be the intended design, but let's say we want to have a double jump, but also to hold down the jump button and have that work. So let's go into our code. So here we are testing if get key down on the space. So this one is true for exactly only one frame. So if we want him to jump as soon as he touches the floor, if the space is being held down, then let's switch this from get key down to just get key. So this will be true whenever the space key is held down. So in here we do our normal jump if it's held down. However, for the double jump, we just want to test when the key is actually pressed. So in here we do a different if. If we have the get key down, then we test for double jump. So if we have space held down and the character touches the ground, this one will be true. The character touches the ground, so he starts jumping up. Then on the next frame, the space key is still held down, so this one goes through, but he's not grounded, so we go into in here. However, this one will be false since it's the second frame that the space key is held down, so this one goes out. And then if we do press space whilst we're in the middle of the air, then this one goes through, and then we test if we can double jump, and we do our double jump. Okay, so this makes our double jump and our normal jump much better for the player. So we no longer have frustrated players because they clicked on the spacebar right before the character hit the ground. So here, do a normal jump, and yep, there you go, a normal jump. Now do a jump and hold the spacebar. So jump, and I'm still holding, and yep, there you go. Every time he falls, he's jumping. Okay, good. So if I jump and I press right before I hit, yep, there you go, he keeps jumping. And now for the double jump, let's go and press again, and yep, there you go. Jump, double jump, and I cannot do a triple. And if I hold, as soon as he falls, he jumps again. All right, so our code is much better, much less frustrating. All right, great. So our basic double jump is working correctly. However, here in the code, using a boolean means that we are limited to just one double jump. Now, depending on our design, we may wish to add an upgrade so that the player can double jump and then unlock a triple jump. So instead of a boolean, let's define a int for the number of jumps. So let's call it the air jump count. And let's also define a maximum, so a private int air jump count max. We're making this a normal variable, so we could easily upgrade it from one air jump to 2 in order to get a triple jump. For starters, on our awake, let's set the jump count max to just 1, so we have 1 jump whilst in mid-air. So over here, when we are grounded, instead of setting can double jump to true, we set our air jump count to 0. So this contains the current number of air jumps that we have made. So when we hit the ground, we have 0. And then in here, when we test if can double jump, instead of that, we test if the air jump count is less than the maximum. So that means we can still do a air jump. So we do it, and instead of setting it to false, we just increase it. So when we do a double jump, this one will increase, so it will go from 0 to 1. And then the next time we try, 1 under 1 is not true, so we can no longer do it. All right, so let's test and see if the normal double jump is still working. Okay, here we are, and the normal jump still works. Okay, let's see a double jump, jump, and double jump, and yep, it still works. Let's try a triple. 1, 2, and yep, there's no triple. We only have 2. Okay, great. So now let's change it in order to make a triple. So here we are, and all we need to do is set the max from 1 to 2. And now let's see. Okay, here we are, do 1, 2, and 3. Yep, there you go. So we now have 1, 2, 3, a triple jump completely working. 1, 2, 3. So we can go here, jump here, 1, 2, and a 3, and yep, I made it across this gap. Okay, awesome. Now let's add a nice particle effect when jumping in midair. So for that, I have this prefab here, which has just a simple particle effect. There it is. So all we need to do is spawn it when we get a double jump. So let's go into the code, and up here we're going to add another serialized field. This will be a private transform for the prefab of the double jump effect. Okay, now back in the editor, let's drag our prefab reference in there. Okay. And here, let's just go to where we are doing our double jump. So in here, it's the normal jump. And here we have our air jump, which might be a double, triple, or anything else. So it's in here that we want to instantiate. Simply instantiate our double jump effect, just like that. Okay, that should do it. Let's see. Here we are, and the normal jump works. Let's see a double, and yep, there you go, and there's a nice little effect, and also appears when you do a triple. So double, triple, and yep, it looks very nice. Okay, awesome. Now let's make a simple indicator to show how many jumps we can perform. So first in here, let's make our visual, so we make a simple sprite. Let's make it just a simple bar, so I'm going to use the white pixel. Okay, just like that, a very simple bar. Let's give it a name. So this will be the air jump icon, and let's make it a prefab. Now let's go into our player code, and in here add another serialized field. drag it in the editor, just like that. Okay. In here, let's make a function to set the max jump count. So here, let's make a private void set air jump count max. We'll receive an int for the air jump count max. Inside, we set the variable. And then let's build our bars. Okay, so we are instantiating as many air jump icons as we need. So now we go up here, instead of setting the max directly, let's use this function. Okay, so now we have all of our icons. Now we need references. So let's go up here, make a list of game objects, and this will be the air jump icon game object list. Let's instantiate it. And here we add it to the list. Okay, so we have our icons being instantiated and stored in a list. Now all we need is to be able to make them visible or invisible. So let's go up here when we use our jump count, and let's update our icons. So make a function for that. In here, make a private void, call it spend air jump. And in here, let's increase our air jump count. And we're going to call this function instead. So we increase the air jump count, and then let's hide our spent icons. Okay, so we do a cycle starting at 0, going until the air jump count, and we simply disable or hide the game object on this index. So if air jump count is 1, then the first one will be hidden. If it is 2, then the first 2 will be hidden, and so on. So for resetting the visibility, let's do a function, a private void reset air jump count, in which we set the air jump count back into 0, and we set them all as visible. Okay, so now up here, instead of setting that directly in there, we simply reset it like that. And here, in order to make sure this doesn't run every frame, let's only run this if the air jump count is bigger than 0. Then we reset it. Okay, so that should do it. So first we set the air jump count max, we create all the icons and put them in a list. Then every time we do an air jump, we call this function, we increase our count, and we hide one of the game objects. Then when we touch the ground again, we reset the air jump, which sets this one back into 0 and shows all of our icons. So let's run the code and see. Okay, here are our icons. As you can see, we have 2 air jumps available. So now we do a normal jump and it doesn't change. Do a double jump, and yep, one of them is hidden. Now do a triple, and one is gone, and the other one is gone, and I can't jump anymore. And as soon as I touch the ground, everything resets. We have 2 air jumps, and yep, there you go. So now we jump, do a double, triple, fall down, double, triple, and fall down, and resets. Okay, awesome. So we have as many jumps as we want, as well as icons to tell us how many we have. Now let's do a fun test. We're going to make a button so we can upgrade our jump count whilst in the middle of the game. So let's go. In here, go into the canvas. Let's make a simple UI button. Okay, so I have created a game object called our test UI. Inside, I have a game object with a nice simple button. It's using the button UI class, which is part of the CodeMonkey utilities that you can grab for free from unitycodemonkey.com. And this class is very simple. It just allows me to easily create buttons. So with this, let's make a script. So we make a new C# script. This will be our test UI. Let's drag it onto the game object. And in here, we simply do a private void awake, grab the reference to our button. And now when we click the button, we want to upgrade the maximum number of jumps. So let's go into the player. And here we're going to need a reference for the player instance. So let's just make a simple static field Down here, let's make a static function in order to increase our jump count. So we have a static function that we can call from anywhere else, so it's perfect for our testing. So in here, when we click the button, we call the player.increaseJumpCountMax. We call this static function. This static function uses the instance and calls the increaseJumpCountMax, which simply increases the air jump count by the maximum plus 1. Okay, so we should have a button to easily upgrade our jump whilst in the middle of our game. So now let's go up here. And by default, let's leave him with 0, so he only has a normal jump, and then we're going to increase it. Let's see. Okay, so here we are, moving around. As you can see, there are no icons under, so we do not have air jumps. And let's see, I can jump, and yep, there's no double jump. I can only do normal jumps. Okay, awesome. Now let's go in here, click on the button, and yep, there you go, I now have a double jump. So I can jump, and jump again, and there's the indicator. Now I still don't have enough in order to reach this platform, so let's click again. And yep, now I should have a triple jump. So I do a first jump, second jump, triple jump. So if I do them all at once, and yep, it's enough to reach this nice platform. So I jump down and here and jump, and yep, there it is. So we now have a nice button, and as you can see, it's extremely simple to do a simple upgrade in order to increase the number of air jumps. So with the functionality to upgrade the jumps, you can see how we have some nice Metroidvania design. Now let's also create a nice object that we can use to reset the jump counter. So here in the editor, let's make a nice gap here on the right side that is only possible if we reset our double jump in mid-air. So in here, let's just push this to the side. So here we start off with a double jump, and now if we go here to the right side, I jump and do a double jump, and it's not enough to reach that platform. So let's make a nice orb that we're going to place here in the middle so that when we hit it, we reset our jump counter whilst in mid-air. So let's see. Here in the editor, I already have a nice sprite prepared. There it is, it's just a simple prefab with a nice particle effect behind it. So this will be our orb that will reset our jump counter. So let's go to our place, and here in between these two jump platforms, we're going to place it in here. So the player jumps, does double jump, then hits here, he resets the air jump counter, and he jumps and double jumps again. Okay, let's do that. Okay, so in order to make sure that the player collides with this object, we need to add, let's go in here, make a circle collider 2D, and let's make this a trigger so it doesn't collide with the physics. Now let's make a script for it. So in here, a new C# script. This will be our jump orb, and drag it onto our prefab. Now in here, let's do a private void on trigger enter 2D. So this function is fired when a collider collides with this game object. The first thing we do is identify if it is the player. So we test first if the collider.gameObject.getComponent of type player is not null. So let's clean this up. So if the player reference is not null, then that means the player has collided with this jump orb. So all we need is to make some function in the player that will do what we want. So let's say player, let's just call it touch jump orb. Okay, let's make that function. So down here, let's make it say public void touched orb. Now when he touches the orb, let's reset the air jump count. So we call this. And let's also make him do a auto jump. So let's go and see our jump code. Here it is. We modify the jump velocity. So we can clean this up so we don't have duplicated code. So let's go in here, make a private void jump. And we're going to do this. And in here we call our jump, we spend the air jump, and here we do a normal jump. And finally down here, when we reset the air jump count, and we do a jump. Okay, so that should do it. So when the player collides with the jump orb, this code runs. If this code identifies that it was indeed the player that collided with him, it triggers this function on the player, which resets the air jump count and triggers a jump. Let's see. Okay, here we are. Everything works the same as normal. We have our nice double jump. Now let's see if we collide with that. We jump, double jump, collide with it, and there's a jump and another double jump. And yep, I can now reach this nice platform. So I go back, double jump, touch it, there's an auto jump and double jump and so on. So hit it, boom, and yep, just like that. Okay, awesome. Now in here, the jump orb currently works every time. So if I jump, double jump, hit the orb, and here I'm constantly jumping every single time. Let's make it so that when we do jump on the orb, it stays inactive for a certain amount of time. Here on the jump orb, let's make a simple timer. So a private float, let's call this the enable timer. We make a private void update. We reduce the enable timer. And if it is under 0, then we just set this jump orb into active. So let's do here a private boolean called jump orb active. And by default on our private void awake, we start off as active. And in here, we only run our timer if we are not active. So if we are not, we count down the timer. When timer is on left, we set it back into active. And when we trigger on the player, we test if the jump orb is active and we have a player reference, we make him jump. Then we set the jump orb to inactive. Then we also set the enable timer at, let's say, 5 seconds. So when the player does an auto jump, we disable the orb for 5 seconds. After 5 seconds, counts down the time and we set it back to enable. So in order to visualize this, let's modify the color. So when it's inactive, it will have the alpha turned to half, and when it's back to active, it will be fully visible. So let's see. Here we are, let's go to our testing place. We do a jump, a double jump, hit that one, and yep, there you go. Now it's inactive, and after 5 seconds, you should see the alpha go back up, and yep, it's active again. Now we hit it, and yep, there you go, exactly. So now we can no longer constantly jump on top of it, since it only becomes active for a little while. So in here, do a jump, double jump, hit it, it jumps, double jump, and I can now cross the huge gap. Awesome. Okay, as one final thing, let's just change the animation whilst we're doing our double jumps. So here on the player animations, we are simply testing if the character is grounded. If so, we check the velocity. If it's 0, then we are playing the idle animation. If not, we are playing the move animation. And when we are not grounded, we are playing the jump animation. The player base also has a different function for a roll animation, so that's what we're going to use. However, we only want to play that animation when it's on the double jump. So on the first jump, we want to keep this one. So for that, we can simply compare the air jump count to the air jump count max. So if the air jump count is still 0, that means we did not do any double jumps. So in here, we play the normal jump, and if not, we play the roll animation. Alright, that should look good. Let's see. Okay, here we are, do a jump, still got the same animation, and double jump, and there you go. On the second one, we've got a very nice new animation. Go in here, jump, hit it, and double jump, and yep, everything looks quite nice. Hit, jump, and that one was disabled and didn't work. And again, we can still go here into the left side, past this jump, do this jump, and now can we go in there? And nope, we cannot reach it. So we click the button, upgrade our double jump into a triple jump, and now we can indeed reach this nice platform. So here is our fully created scene. We started off with just a simple jump, then we add the ability to do a double jump, then we add the ability to make that into an integer, so we can make any number of jumps, so we can do a double, triple, or as many as we want. Then we created a nice special orb, which we can touch in midair in order to reset our air jumps, which provides excellent design for making different levels. So we can go here, jump, hit it, jump again. And again, the whole code is extremely simple to use, so we can make a nice upgrade system and click it, and now we have a bunch of nice air jumps, and we can constantly jump, and everything works nice and easy and looks great. As always, you can download the project files and utilities from unitycodemonkey.com. If you liked the video, subscribe to the channel for more Unity tutorials. Post any questions you have in the comments and I'll do my best to answer them. Alright, see you next time.